The story a little bit of how is it that there are real Tribbles here right now? Who are you? Where did it come from?
This is a playset that my sister and I had in our backyard growing up. So my dad recreated the Enterprise bridge for us, and it eventually moved into a playhouse that had a trapdoor, so aliens would beam into the bridge. So when Jay and I started dating, and I realized, I kind of like this guy, that's when he got introduced to Star Trek. And so we call this his assimilation.
Then it got serious. Why Tribbles? You're in the lab.
Yep. So this is the first Tribble that was ever made. Her name is Snowball. I was 6 years old, and I desperately wanted a Tribble. My dad actually was a big part of this. He started saying, well, wouldn't it be funny if you made a Tribble that you could set off on your friends from an app? And so we kind of were joking around about it, and this whole time we were waiting, when are they gonna make a Tribble that's really real? When are they gonna make a Tribble that's a pet? And so finally we decided we were just gonna go for it.
Yeah, it started as a passion project. It's something that we wanted and we couldn't find in the market. We weren't originally looking to manufacture or sell these. It was for us.
This is actually kind of how we started, which doesn't look at all like a Tribble. So neither of us knew how to do this, but we picked an Arduino because it's open source. So I taught myself how to code C++ with online tutorials. And as we went through, so this is part of, everything kind of gets plugged into what's called a breadboard. So you have wires everywhere, you kind of clip things together, and basically you would say, okay, I have this component, and there's this tutorial that shows me how to make it work, and that component, and there's that tutorial that shows me how to make it work. Now, how do I make them talk to each other? Yeah, so that was us testing the first version of the app. So we built that on MIT App Builder. It was a single-page app, and we have some photos of that coming up in a little bit too. But this is where Jay really came in, and Jay taught himself how to solder electronics, because once you have this huge thing spread out on the table, you now have to condense it down into something that can fit inside the body of a rather large Tribble. This is the first Tribble. Jay got it all from that whole card table full of stuff to fit into a Pelican case. And so that's this guy that we've got right here. So it all came down to being about this big. It does do all the things. We do have the original tiny little phone that we bought and put the first app on.
This is functional and remarkable considering you taught yourself how to make it. It's not exactly cuddly. It's just a bunch of wires. So how does it go from this to this?
And so this is actually the version that we would take and we would present to people when we were starting. CBS was like, this is great. What do you need from us? And just go ahead and do it. And so that led us to trying to find a manufacturer. And you do the best that you can to kind of tell them what they want, and they send you what's called a works like, looks like sample. What they didn't tell us was that they didn't have the fur in stock that we needed, and they had used an alternate fur. So we opened up the box, and this is what came out. And we sent a quick email to China. We're like, okay, guys, this isn't what we were going for. And they're like, oh, yeah, we know. We just didn't tell you. I don't know if you'll be able to hear this. But that is what the original motor sounded like.
Yeah, the motor was vibrating inside.
You've got like my alarm clock from 1988 in there. Oh boy.
So we had to get together with them and say like, okay, well, how do we resolve this? And since then, we've gone with a different motor. It's much quieter. Some of you have stopped by our table and you've heard it. So that was part of the kind of wake-up call for us. So this is what the prototyping experience is like, and everything is going to be wrong until everything is finally right.
As we developed the Tribble code, or if we wanted to change it so it was a little bit louder, or it would take a little bit longer before it would trill, or there's a little bit of delay so you can put the pouch back closed after all those little changes, then you have to update the code. And so they updated in China, and then they would send us over the file, and then we had to then upload it onto these target boards.
So that's where we arrived at this much cleaner version of the app, and the thing that is so exciting to me is that all of it is my artwork. We're gonna have an app out there on the market that is Star Trek that we designed.
Awesome. So what are there's probably a more technical term for what I'm about to ask, but when one has the app and when one has one of these, you can set it to purr?
So when it's in at ease mode, it will purr and vibrate when you pick it up. So it'll do that every time you pick it up. And then because we wanted them to be alive, they will also do it every once in a while. You've been hearing them sitting here on the table kind of going off. So because we've been playing with them a lot recently, they're going off a lot more. And if we leave them sitting for longer, we don't want them to drive people crazy. So they're going to go off less frequently.
There's a lot of randomness. We did really want them to feel alive, so as much randomness as we could, we included.
Awesome. And how, when there is a Klingon present, how does that part work?
So do you want to demonstrate the attack button? So this button at the bottom, in any of the modes, when you press it, the Tribble will scream at whoever's holding it.
Right. So the idea is, you go, you find your nephew while he's asleep, and you slip one under his bed, and then you go in the other room, and you hit the button, you wake him up with the screaming Tribble.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So you can also set it in Watchdog mode. So in Watchdog mode, it will only go off when it's moved, but it will only scream. So you put it on your coworker's desk, you set it on top of your keyboard, and if somebody moves it, it's going to scream at them. And then on duty, the Tribble is actively seeking Klingons. So every time you move it, it's determining, are you a Klingon, are you not a Klingon, and you're either going to get a trill or a scream accordingly.
Kind of the biggest question is right now, oh my God, I want one. How do I get one? Can I get one this instant?
Sure, so our Tribbles are available for pre-sale right now.
Pre-sale,
Yep,
okay.
so we are selling them on our website. The fabric has to be custom made because we wanted it to be very soft and we wanted it to be the right color. So they are making it for us depending on how many orders are placed.
Right.
We're hand citing and hand serializing adoption registration certificates. So you can put his name on there, your adoption date, and then you'll also have, I have Tribble 151, or whichever Tribble it is that you adopted. And the final thing we have is in our app, we have a contributors page. We launched last week. This is very much a by fans, for fans project. So if you participate in the pre-sale, we give you the option to add your name to that contributors page.
This is wave one, before the Tribbles have taken over the bridge. It's you say now you've neutered them though, right? They do not.
Right, so these guys aren't going to reproduce.
Okay.
Yeah, we founded the company in February. So this is again a design that I got to do. This has been a lot of fun. I also got to do the graphic design.
I would suggest making a purchase. What does one of these things cost?
So they're $59.99.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$60.
Yep. And
That is for a living Tribble that will wake up your neighbors when you stick it under their bed when they're not sleeping. I think that's phenomenal. I think that's definitely something that people here need. It's good stuff.
What do you feed your Tribbles?
Every once in a while, you do need to put some AA batteries in.
When was the first time? So you were the Trekkie growing up. Were you the one who showed Jay Trouble with Tribbles? Had he seen it before?
So growing up, I may have seen a few episodes here and there on, it was probably Next Gen or something. I never really got into it. And then when we started going out, we started at the very beginning of original series and just worked our way through the entire catalog.
Did you have to fake liking Star Trek, or was it legit?
I don't actually know the answer to this.
No, the original series, if you're coming into it as an adult, it's different than other shows that are on TV nowadays, but there's certainly a charm and there's certainly a message, and there always has to be a message in all of the art forms that I partake in, otherwise why do it? And so there's that throughout from the very beginning onwards, and the best episodes, I think most people can agree, are the ones that have a message and a moral to them.
Yes, we got one more.
Will they be in for Christmas?
So we would love for that to be the case. Our manufacturer has been very clear, do not promise that, because it all kind of comes down to how long it takes for the fabric and everything to come in. However, we do have a comment field in our order form. So if you put a note in there that you want it for a Christmas present, we can't guarantee that the Tribble will come any faster, but we'd love to send you guys a card, something really nice that you can give to someone that you've ordered it for as a gift.
Well, you know what? This is, there are a lot of Star Trek products out there. This is probably the most fun I've seen in a very long time. And I'm being 100% sincere. It's because of you guys, because it's handmade. It's made from love. It started because you wanted to buy it yourself, and so you made it. And I think that shows. I think it's a really fun thing, and the aspect is, is what it's all about. So a big round of applause, I think. And even if you're unsure about buying it, stop by the booth and get some of those cards because they're adorable.